Hi, this is going to be a brief explanation on plain sailing and why it might actually be RTA viable. So first of all, let's take a look at what plain sailing is. That trick right there, that is plain sailing. Looks relatively easy. All it is a flip there. It prevents having to wait for this platform to go up so you can walk around. That's what you'd normally do. Plain sailing skips that by flipping onto the platform and then up. It saves around a second. Not a whole lot, but it is significant if you're going for world record. So, how do you set this up so that you can flip and land on this platform? The thing we need to look at right here is this. You can see let me see. Yeah, okay. I'm just barely on top of this platform. It looks like I'm next to it, but Viridian's hitbox extends 1 pixel to the right, so right where my mouse is now, I'm on the platform just barely. That's the whole window you have is that 1 pixel. You can't be any further right, and if you're any further left, you'll not land on the platform. And to make things even worse, this is an edge flip right here. What that means is I'm flipping on the frame after I leave the platform, uh, and that means there's exactly a 1 frame window to flip, and there's a 1 pixel window to land on the platform. So this is the critical frame. You need to be on this exact pixel and flip on this exact frame for this to work. Um, and the way we set that up is based on when we start holding right. I'm holding right all the way through this trick. You can see on the input display, holding right, I flip, I'm still holding right, and then I flip up again. That means that my align is set the moment I start, my align being which pixel I'm on while I'm moving. So this is the align I want. I'm standing on a conveyor holding right, I'm moving at 10 pixels per frame to the right, which means that based on which pixel I am here or anywhere here, this is already the correct align because I'm holding right all the way through. And how do you recognize if you have the right align? It's on this frame right here. When you leave this skeleton room, you can see Viridian is exactly halfway off screen. You can see his left eye. You can see 1 pixel between his eyes, basically, or 1 pixel of blue to the right of his left eye. This is how you recognize whether you're on the right align. I hold right all the way through and I'll hit the exact right pixel I need to, which means I'll have a 1 frame window to flip. So that's how you recognize how you have the right align, and the way you set up having that align is right here. So I'm not holding right, and on this frame, exactly when the right side of Viridian is lined up with the gap between the two spikes here, this is when you start holding right, and this will set you up perfectly for the flip later. The thing is, because we're not standing still here, it's very hard to line up this exact pixel, because this is, again, a 1 pixel window right here. You have to be on this pixel so you can start holding right and have the right align. But we're on a conveyor, which means we're moving, when we're not holding right, we're moving 4 pixels to the right per frame. And then we need to hit this, start holding right, and it'll work. What that means is, on this previous room here, it's important that as soon as I stop holding right here, this is when I let go. It's important that you're not holding right when you enter this room. You need to be standing still already right now, because otherwise the skeletons won't line up in a way where you can hit the right pixel. So it's important that when I stop holding right on this room, that I'm already on the right. I have the right align here because I'm moving 4 pixels to the right per frame. There's 1 pixel that'll work out of 4, or 1 align that'll work out of 4, so that I can hit this pixel later on. Whoops, right here. So that means that in this room back here, select track, we need to set it up in such a way so that we hit the right pixel on the next room. The way we do that is based off when we flip off the ceiling here. Right now we're standing on a conveyor that's moving against our direction of travel. That means Viridian is moving 2 pixels per frame, and we need to hit the correct pixel out of 4 on the next room. And just by chance, it works out so that 50%, because well, 2 divides into 4 equally, and our position here is already good, so that half of the time you'll already have the right align just by flipping off. So basically, the frames alternate. So this is a good frame to flip off. 1 frame earlier doesn't work. 1 frame later doesn't work. 2 frames later works. 4 frames later works. 6 frames later works. Yeah. So it's basically, if you just flip off the ceiling randomly, it's a 50% chance it'll work. You can recognize it here based on this frame. You can see Viridian is a couple pixels to the right of the wall. He's not touching it, and he's not very far away. You can just learn to recognize this, and you'll know you'll have the right align. So I'm going to keep holding right. I let go of right there, and I'm set up. This is perfect. I start holding right on this frame, right here. This frame right here, I start holding right. Keep holding right, flip. It works. So that's how you set it up. What that means, just if this is your setup and you try to do exactly this, you have 3 frame perfect inputs. That's pretty difficult. But I have another example here. So remember this frame. Wait, here. Remember this frame. This is the good align. 2 frames or 4 pixels to the right of this also works, but that's relatively hard to recognize. But you can recognize that you have the right align based on that. So let's go to second example here. You can see this is the first frame you can actually flip off the ceiling without dying on these spikes. My hitbox is lined up exactly with the wall. This is quote unquote bad align. If I were just to hold right, let go over here, and then hold right, or let go of, and then start holding right when I need to, it won't work because I'm on the wrong set of 4 pixels on the conveyor here. You'll not hit the right pixel to start holding right in the skeleton room. So what I do to correct for that is, first of all, I recognize this situation. I know I'm on the wrong. I have the wrong align there based on how close I am to the wall. So I tap left for 1 frame right there. You can see I tap left on this frame, and for 1 frame only, Viridian turns around. He moves exactly 2 pixels to the left, which means that now I have the correct align to hit this pixel right there. I start holding right, and everything works out. Now, this trick is very hard. It took me a couple minutes to actually record these 2 examples, just because it is very difficult. But similar to backsliders, if you know what that trick is, if you don't, it doesn't really matter. You can recognize right here at the end of this room, I missed the pause, but here, because you can recognize this, if I see that I didn't hit the right pixel here, if Viridian isn't lined up perfectly right there, I can just do the normal strat on this room. You have enough time to react, you can just stop holding right and go below, which means you lose about 5 frames or so compared to just going as fast as possible. But you also have a chance to save a whole second if you happen to get everything correctly. So in that sense, you can just every run, if you feel like it, you don't have to, but it's an option. You can try the setup, try to flip off, recognize the situation. If you have the perfect align, just hold right, let go. If you don't, you can tap left for 1 frame when you're standing still here. Just tap left for 1 frame right there. And try to start holding right on this exact pixel here. And then when you leave this room, the skeleton room, you'll just look at the side of the screen. Do you have the perfect align? If you do, you can try to hit the frame perfect flip on the plain sailing room right here. It is frame perfect still, so it's not easy by any means, but it's doable. And if you happen to not hit the perfect align, if you see Viridian isn't lined up the way I want, you just stop holding right here, wait for the platform to go up and go below. It's that easy. So that's why this trick might actually be RTA viable. I wouldn't recommend trying to actually go for this flip every run because that's very hard. It's three frame, well, it's 2 frame perfect inputs, and the first input back here, let's see, to get the perfect align here, just like that, that's frame perfect, but you can adapt based on if you're frame earlier or later. If you go any more than 1 frame later than this, it's very hard to tell exactly how many pixels too far you are because it's a very small difference between the cases. So I'd learn to recognize this frame for sure, and this one as well. This is very easy to recognize because that's as close as you can get to the spike without dying. And this one is twice as far away. And anything further than that is probably too hard to recognize. So those are the 2 frames you want to look out for. Based on that, you can just hold right, let go. If you need to change your align by 2 to the left, by going 2 to the left, you can tap left for 1 frame. Then you hit the right pixel, hold right, and it works, hopefully. If it doesn't work, you can just do the normal strat without losing any more than a couple frames of time. That's it. Anyway, that's all I wanted to explain. Thanks for watching.